No, 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 no.
Daddy, don't touch me there. I'm gonna tell on you one day, I swear. Can't you see I'm scared? You're supposed to be my father.
Welcome back to Cosmoholics Anonymous. I am your favorite girl, Bo Vintage, and today's video is story time. This is a more serious story time because, well, not because, but this is a more serious story time. I have not told my mom this. I have only told Shooter and the girl that it involved. Well, it doesn't really involve her because it involves her dad, but I've only told those two people. This is really hard for me to talk about. I don't think I'm going to cry, but it is very troubling. I don't know where to start. I guess I'll start with this was one of my best friends. Oh, okay, I hate Paris. Before I continue, let me make this very clear. When I say my best friend, I am not referring to Paris because I never even met Paris's daddy a day in my life, so we don't know Paris's daddy. Okay, so let me make that very clear because when I tell stories, motherfuckers like to speculate on who shit might be about. It's never Paris, okay? Me and Paris do not tell stories about each other on our channel. Like, no. I hate my bra straps, but my bra straps are gonna have to stay, okay? Because the black is like throwing me. I guess I'll start by saying that me and this girl were very close. We still kind of are. Like, I still check up on her. She checks up on me. Like, we talk every once in a while. But we're not as close as we used to be. Definitely not. And people drift. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're just not as close as we used to be. And I'm not the type of person that keeps contact with people every day of the week. Like, I don't do that. That's not the way I run my friendships. So, yeah. We're really close, especially in high school. I did not ask her if I can share this story, but to me that's irrelevant because of the nature of the story. I'm gonna leave out large details because I don't want to give too many details away just because she does have a family, and I don't want people that know us to like read into it. If I give too many details and tell you the color of her hair and the color of her eyes and like her nationality or her skin color, like those are details that I give you guys a lot of details when I do my stories, and I don't want to do that with this story just because of the nature of the story. But yeah, I've never spoken openly about this, and I don't want to title the video "My Best Friend's Dad Molested Me" because I just hate those titles when people do that. Like, I do not like it. So I don't want to title it that. I don't know what I'm gonna call this video. I really don't know where to begin with this story. So in high school, I gotta turn my phone off. Paris is so annoying. Like, I'm going to fight her. I am going to fight her. Why is she not at the condo? What? She looks gorgeous. She's fucking so pretty, man. Like, I'm glad she's texting me so I'm not getting sad while I'm telling this. Okay, now go away. Okay, so back into the story. So when I was in high school, I was really close with her. I always used to sleep over at her house, like, you know, hang out after school, hang out during school, like bestoffriends.com, okay? And I'm the type of person that if I'm close with you, I swear to God, Paris, if you text me one more time, I'm going to beat your ass. What? Like, I can't deal. I'm just gonna ignore her for real. Like, I gotta like toss my phone across the room. Okay. Yeah, we were pretty much inseparable, and I'm the type of friend that if I'm close with you and I love you, like your parents are my parents are your parents, I call your mom mom, your dad, yo brother, like I'm like that, and we were like that. Like, she called my mom, I call her mom. She ain't never met my daddy, and she wouldn't call him daddy anyway, because I don't call my dad, so that would never have been a thing. But I definitely did call her dad daddy and her mom E. She texted me again, I swear. So that was how it was. When I saw her parents, that's how I would greet them. And yeah, like mommy and daddy, that's what it was. Now, if a man that is sick, and by sick I mean interested in little girls, is being called daddy by his daughter's friend, that may trigger something in him that he likes. But I didn't know that, and I don't know if that's what happened. Probably not. He's already clearly sick. But I feel like me calling him daddy was a turn on. Now when I look at the situation, it kind of like, I don't know, like it's so disturbing. But okay, so maybe I'll get into like the first incident, because the first incident, I think I was pretty much in denial and I didn't process it. Oh, no. No. Not today, bitch. Not today. Not the fuck today. I need a minute, you guys. I will be back. I really did not think I would cry telling this story. Nope. I refuse. My makeup looks so good. Oh, I refuse. I refuse. I refuse. I need a Q-tip. This is why I don't do these emotional ass story times, because my channel is supposed to be happy-go-lucky, okay? Happy-go-lucky, saucy, and other things, but okay, I think I can do this. So the first incident, I was in denial until the second incident. So basically what happened with the first incident was I was sleeping over at my friend's house, and we were all in the living room, or the entire family was in the living room, and me and my friend were always arguing about who was taller than who. And so naturally we had to like have like a big freaking debate about it. And so there's only one way to solve that, and that would be to stand back to back like this, and whoever was taller, like, we would find out because her dad would measure us. Basically what happened in this moment, me and my friend got up and we stood back to back. Her dad went around to the front of her, and he was looking to see if her head was above mine or mine was above hers. He then circled and came and stood in front of me. Now, I'm 5'2", 5'3" almost. Her father's probably, I don't know, I'm gonna say 5'11", 6 foot. And basically what he did was he came and he stood in front of me, and it doesn't take this long to fucking figure out who's taller than who. It's literally a 2-second thing. But he was there, he's like in my face, you guys, literally Like, if we were like chest to chest, our noses would be touching. That's how close he was to me. And that wasn't what was bothering me. What I brushed under the rug was the fact that when we were standing like this and he was that close to me, he kind of brushed his private part against my private part. And it felt hard, but like I said, it felt like, I don't know, like I was literally in denial. Like, I didn't say anything to her that day. I pretty much processed it as if that didn't just happen. Like, that wasn't what happened. Like, I felt like, I don't know, like it felt like it was an accident. Like, you know what I mean? Or that's how it was made to feel, like it was an accident. Like, he just kind of brushed me because he was standing that close to me trying to measure who was taller than who. And so I brushed that under the rug. I didn't say anything about it. I didn't read into it. I just felt like it was, you know, but I know that he came forward and like made sure that if this is my vagina and this is his dick, that he like came up and like pressed it against me. So that's what the first incident was. The second incident happened months down the line when I ran away from home. So when I ran away from home, this is where I went to go stay, and this was probably the most awkward thing I've witnessed from her. Well, yeah, this was the most awkward altercation, and this was the altercation that made me say, like, I will never ever be in her house by myself with her father ever again. And this may seem really small to a lot of people when I say this, but it was inappropriate, and that's all I know. As a 16-year-old girl, not again. As a 16-year-old girl, this was just inappropriate. So basically, when I ran away from home and I was staying at her house, oftentimes she would give me the key because we had different schedules sometimes after school. Like, she would have band practice or some weird shit like that. And so I would go to her house and I would let myself in. One day in particular, her father was home and nobody else was home. Her mom was gone to work. Her brother was not there. It was just him. And when I came in the house, he was there. And so he greeted me. I greeted him. I said hi, blah, 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 blah. Casual convo. I went to go like put my bag down and stuff. And then I came out into the living room and he said, come here. So I go to him and he sits me down on his lap. Awkward thing number one. He sat me down on his lap and he was talking to me, and I see him do this with his daughter all the time, so I didn't think anything of it at first, but yeah, so then he's talking to me, asking me about school and blah, 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 and then he makes me stand up. I'm standing in front of him, and he's touching the bottom part of my shirt, okay? He's touching the bottom part of my shirt, and he's like, can I, like, do you mind? And I was just like, do I mind what? And you know what? They were always saying that I was so chubby. Like, they were always calling, her mom and him were always calling me chubby. So I was processing this as he's checking my weight, and I do not know why I processed it as that, but that's what I processed it at the time. And so he lifted my shirt up until underneath my boobs. At the time I had my belly button pierced. He lifted my shirt up halfway, like right, more than halfway, like up to where my bra would be, basically. He lifted it up to where my brow would be. He did not uncover my boobs, because obviously then I would be like, okay, like, motherfucker, I'm calling the police. Like, he didn't lift it up that high. He just lifted it up to where, like, the bottom of my bra would have been, and he's examining my body as if he were some kind of fucking doctor, okay? So he's turning me to the side. He's basically checking me out in the most uncomfortable way possible. And yeah, he's looking at me, looking at my belly ring, and he's not really saying much, but I was just like, this is awkward as fuck in my head. And so once he did that, that was the end of it. And I went into the room and I was just like waiting for her to come home, okay? Because I didn't know at that point what to feel, what to do. I didn't want to be in the living room with him anymore because I just felt uncomfortable to that point. Like, I don't know if things could have worsened. I don't doubt it, but after that happened that day, I just felt so uncomfortable. And so I went in the room to wait for her to get home. I text her and I'm like, are you coming home soon, blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. So she comes home and she's in the room and I'm talking to her and I was just like, your dad did something really weird today. And has he ever done this to you? And so I tell her exactly what happened, verbatim. And she's like, she looks at me, she's like, no. And I'm just like, okay, like, well, that's what happened today after school. Just want to let you know. And so she was just like, yeah, that's weird. I don't know what that's about. And so I told her, like, I don't feel comfortable being here by myself anymore. Like, I would never ever want to be here by myself. I don't even want to sleep at your house at this point. Like, I don't feel safe. And so I'm talking to her, and what hurt me the most about this, like, I didn't want her to hate her dad. I wouldn't want her to hate her dad, but what hurt me about this was just her response to me. I remember her saying, I fucking hate this story. Her response to me was, I think that's weird and everything, but I don't look at my dad any differently. Like, I don't see him any differently than I did yesterday. Like, you know what I mean? And I was just like, okay, understandable. And I don't know, like, I don't know what I expected her to say. It just wasn't that. It wasn't, well, I don't see my dad any differently. Like, I didn't feel, I don't know, I can't put it into words how I felt in that moment other than hurt. Because I wasn't asking her to hate her dad, but I probably would have been happier if she didn't say anything. But for her to say I don't see him any differently, I just told you, your dad basically molested me twice, not once, but twice, because I told her about the time that he brushed his dick against me hard as a motherfucking rock. And I told her about both incidences and that I don't feel comfortable, and for her to just be like, well, I don't see him any differently, was like, really, bitch? Like, what? She could have, I would have rather her have just been like silent, because it's an awkward thing for me to, I get that it's awkward for me to tell you that your dad is potentially Lester the fucking molester. Like, I get that that's detrimental to your family, that's hurtful, but at the same time, you need to know that this is what's happening and I don't feel comfortable at your home anymore. And so I asked her if anybody else has ever told her anything like that, and she was just like, no. And so her house was the chill spot. There were little girls running through her house all the time. So I don't know if I'm the only one. I don't know if I was the first one that he acted upon, but he only got worse. And I say that because this happened when I was 16. Last year, my friend messaged me out of the blue and she said, hey, what happened with you and my dad that time? And that obviously sparked a red flag in me, because I'm just like, I panicked. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, did he do this to somebody else? Did he get worse? Did he rape somebody? Like, I wasn't sure what she was gonna tell me next. So she messages me that, and then she said she can't talk now, she'll tell me later or whatever. And so the time, like, I was talking to her and it was not getting brought up, so I kept bringing it up because I wanted to know why she was asking me that. I basically had to beat it out of her, but she ended up telling me that one of her other friends came to her house, and this is last year, you guys. So now the person that this has happened to is still a young girl, but she's not 16, but she's still young. And what happened to her was way worse than what happened to me. Like I said, I did not ask to share this story, but my point is that I have a reason for sharing this other half of the story, even though it didn't happen to me. And I feel like when things are happening in the dark, they do need to come to light. That is why I speak about my deadbeat father. That is why I speak about a lot of different things. If things are happening in the dark, they need to be brought to the light. So somebody actually commented a Bible scripture on my deadbeat dad video, and so I went to go read it because I've never read it before, and it says just that. So if you want to check it out, it's Ephesians 5:11, I believe. I will put it on the screen. You could Google it if you want to. If you don't want to, then don't. But that's how I feel in this moment. And so basically what happened was her friend came to her home. Mind you, she's never told her mother. I never told her mother about what her father did to me. So when people are dealing with sicknesses like that, it only worsens, especially if they're not seeking therapy and getting treated. Like he hasn't gone to get treated as a freaking child molester. And so when you're married to a great woman for that many years, for you to be looking at little girls is obviously more than, more than you can bear. And so he should be seeking help and blah, 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 blah. But because he's not, he strikes again. So everybody's home. My friend's there. Her mom's there. Her grandma's there. Her dad's there. Okay? Everybody's home. Her friend came over. Everybody was asleep except for the dad. The father had walked out of, I believe, his bedroom when she had come inside the house. So the friend came inside the house, and I guess the dad heard the door, so he was coming to see who it was. He walks outside of the bedroom into the hallway. Mind you, like I said, everybody in the house is sleeping except for him. And she goes up to greet him, and he grabs her, pulls her in close, rubs his hard dick on her, and starts slobbering on her fucking face and cheek, trying to kiss her. A father whose wife and mother-in-law is home did this to his daughter's friend. And this is why I say it only worsened, because when I was 16, he did not do that to me. What he did to me bothered me and still bothers me to this day, though it wasn't as bad as what he did to the other girl. And she's in her 20s. And so can you imagine that? Like, can you imagine somebody doing that to your friend's father doing that to you? She pushed him off of her, and she goes into the bathroom to like wipe herself off, wipe the slobber off of her face and clean her face off and just like recuperate. And he comes into the bathroom and approaches her again. First of all, if it were me in the situation, I would have been screaming at the top of my lungs. Somebody would have had to wake up. He might have had to kill me that day because I could not have been silent. I feel like, I don't know what happened. She fought him off, obviously, but she didn't like scream or wake anybody up. I would have woke up the fucking neighbors, but that's not what happened with her. She dealt with it how she dealt with it. She kept quiet just like I did and waited to tell our mutual friend, and so, or his daughter. So she left, and then I don't know, she ended up telling my friend what her dad did. And so when she told her that is when she contacted me to find out what happened with us. The craziest part about this is that despite all of this, after this altercation, obviously my friend was livid with her father because this was like next level. Not that what he did to me wasn't just as bad, but this was way out of like, I can't even express how bad this one is. Like, this is really bad. Like, this, there's no words to even explain. Like, it's like he couldn't control it. It was like he was taken over by something, because how are you going to tell me that your wife and mother-in-law and daughter are home and they're asleep and you're going to like attack or sexually assault your daughter's friend? Like, that doesn't make any sense. When you're sick like that, it can overpower you, and I feel like that's what happened in that situation. And so she tells my friend is pissed, like pissed, more than pissed. She's disgusted, she's hurt, she's everything. And she's obviously, at this point, has to tell her mom. I don't know if she told her mom about what happened to me still, but she told her mom that what happened with her other friend. Of course, her mom felt extremely embarrassed, extremely shamed. She wanted to divorce, and I was here for it. I was like 100%, like, yes, for the gods, divorce now, yesterday. Like, get rid of him and get him to seek help, press charges, and get him to seek help. And so that's what the initial plan was. However, again, I ended up hurt, even though this had nothing to do with me, because when I followed up with the situation, I only found out that her mother forgave him, and I do not believe she is still divorcing him. I cannot speak for anybody else, but I know that if I were to find out that my husband were molesting my daughter's friends since 16 until now, maybe even before, I would have a serious problem with that, and my marriage would have to end, and somebody would have to be registered as a sex offender. I could not live with knowing that. And it's like, from what she's told me, it's like he's not been remorseful about it. Like, he's not being genuine. He is passing it off. He's denied it, and that is what's fucking with me. He's denied it. He's saying that it must be a misunderstanding. If somebody slobbers on your face, not once but twice, that is not a misunderstanding. If somebody's hard dick gets pressed against you when you don't want it to be, that is not a misunderstanding. And that is why I'm so pressed and so irritated by this whole entire situation. Because if somebody were to tell me that, their father did if my father did something to them, one of my friends, and her mother knew, and they didn't do anything about it but like brush it under the rug and just forgive him and like act like it didn't happen and reconcile the marriage, I would be livid. I would not be able to live with myself, and that is why I'm sharing this story, because I know that this happens more often than not. I just feel like I didn't originally want to tell this story because I feel like there's too many. When it comes to Storytime channels, people like to use clickbait, and there's so many I was almost raped stories, I was almost molested. That's nothing to play with. I cannot respect you for that, being a victim of those things. And I'm only sharing my story because, like I said, I know that this is something that happens more often than not, and I know that people are afraid to speak out about what's happened to them, but I wouldn't be living in my truth if I didn't speak on this. And this is not my first time. At 16 was not the first time I was molested or inappropriately touched or forced to do things, but it was definitely the last. And I think all I really want to say about this is, if you are a victim, if you feel, or if something uncomfortable has happened to you, do not be afraid to speak about it. Do not be afraid to open your mouth and say something. I wish back then I had said something to her mother and not her. I wish or said something to my mother, actually, because I didn't. I just let it slide. And going to visit her as an adult and her dad there, it's always been awkward for me since that day. And so when I went there as an adult, I was very standoffish, and I didn't want to even be in the house, in the room with him. And like I said, what happened to me was so minuscule compared to what happened to her other friend that I don't even know. So all I'm saying is that if you are, or if somebody you know has told you something like this, don't be afraid to speak on it or encourage them to speak on it. Or if it's in a situation like me, don't be afraid to tell your mom or somebody other than the daughter of the fucking child molester. Like, I really wish I had done it differently. I do. I can't deny that. I really wish I had, but I didn't. So it is what it is. I guess you can't fully heal from something until you speak about it, and that's probably why I'm crying, because I've never cried about this before. It's something that I definitely think about all the time. It's something that I have to live with, but I've never confronted it. I never ever allowed myself to admit that I was hurt by that, or admit that my friend hurt me by just saying, I don't see my dad any differently. Well, do you see him differently now? Like, you know what I mean? And obviously she must now. I knew she wasn't speaking to him for, like, after that happened to her friend, she wasn't speaking to him for a minute, but I don't know if she's speaking to him now. Quite frankly, if it was me in the situation and it was my father molesting my friends, I would cut his balls off. Like, I would, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Like, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I don't know. She's a daddy's girl. So this obviously is something that would tear her whole entire world apart. And maybe just like me, when the first incident happened and I didn't say anything about it and I was just in denial about it, maybe when I told her what I told her, she was in denial about it and she said what she said. But I feel like now, now that the second incident happened with somebody else that's a little bit older, however still very young, I feel like now she can't be in denial about it. But I was really sad when I found out that her mother so easily forgave him. And I don't even know. I don't know what's going on in her other friend's head. I've never spoken to her. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And yeah, I think the only thing I want to stress is that you shouldn't be afraid to speak out at the time of the incident, because that was, what, 8 years ago? Just the same amount of time that I've had my braces, and though it happened 8 years ago, it's going to be with me forever, and it's always going to be in the back of my mind. And every time I see him, I'm going to remember the time I was 16 and he pushed up against me and he made me sit in his lap and was inappropriately touching me because I was a baby. So yeah, that's that. There's nothing else I can really say about the situation. Yeah, so I do love you all. Thank you for watching, and I will definitely see you in the next one.